I was 16 this summer. I realized that families could shatter in ways you never see coming. Up until then, I believed my parents were steady. My dad, Richard, was the kind of man who worked long hours as an insurance agent but always made time for family dinners. My mom, Laura, was the warm center of our home. She made pancakes on Sunday mornings, kept every birthday memorable, and always reminded me and my little sister Emily that family meant everything. To me, my parents were unshakable, two people who built a life together and were determined to see it through no matter what. But sometimes what you see on the surface isn't the whole picture. And in our case, what lurked beneath eventually rose up and tore us apart. It started small in ways that seemed insignificant at first. I noticed Mom spending more time on her phone, laughing at messages she wouldn't share, or stepping outside when someone called. I brushed it off, figuring she was catching up with her sister or reconnecting with old friends. Everyone needs their own space, right? But then she started dressing differently, putting on makeup in the middle of the afternoon when she had nowhere to go. Dad noticed too. I could see the questions in his eyes, though he didn't say much. One night, I woke up thirsty and padded downstairs for a glass of water. I stopped when I heard Mom's voice in the kitchen, soft but sharp with intensity. She was whispering on the phone, saying things like, "I miss you," and "I'll see you soon." My heart froze. At first, I wanted to believe she was talking to Dad. Maybe he'd stepped out or something. But Dad was asleep upstairs, snoring gently like he always did. That was the moment I realized something wasn't right. I went back to bed, but I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying her words in my mind, and though I wanted to believe there was some innocent explanation, deep down I knew there wasn't. The tension in the house grew over the weeks. Dad became quieter, as if he sensed it too. Emily, only 11 at the time, was oblivious. She still asked Mom to braid her hair in the mornings and clung to Dad when he came home from work. I envied her innocence because I could already feel the ground shifting beneath us. Everything came to a head one Friday evening. Dad came home earlier than usual, his face pale and grim. He asked me and Emily to go upstairs. His voice was steady, but I could feel the weight in it. So I took Emily's hand and led her up to our room. We sat on my bed, listening to the thin walls as the house erupted below us. "Who is he, Laura?" Dad's voice boomed, breaking the silence that had been building for months. "There's no one," Mom snapped back, but her tone was defensive, shaky. "Don't lie to me. I've seen the messages. I know you've been meeting someone." The sound of Emily's small, trembling voice beside me pierced me. "What's happening?" I pulled her close, trying to muffle her ears, but the argument downstairs raged on. "I wasn't happy, Richard." Mom's voice cracked, and I felt my chest tighten. "I needed something you weren't giving me. After all these years? After everything we built?" Dad's words were heavy with disbelief. I couldn't listen anymore. Emily was crying quietly, and all I wanted was to protect her from hearing our parents' marriage unravel. But the truth had already clawed its way into our home, and there was no stopping it. The next morning, Dad sat us down at the dining table. His eyes were red, his voice low but determined. He explained that Mom had been seeing another man for months. He didn't go into detail, but the betrayal in his eyes told us enough. Mom sat silently, staring at her hands, unable to look at us. Emily asked a question I couldn't bring myself to. "Does this mean you're getting divorced?" Dad hesitated before answering, and in that pause, I felt my whole world tilt. Finally, he said, "Yes, I can't stay in a marriage built on lies." From that moment, everything changed. Dad moved out within the week, into a small apartment across town. I split my time between him and Mom, though being at home with her felt suffocating. I couldn't look at her the same way. She had always been the person I turned to for advice, the one who kept our family together. But now I saw her as the reason everything fell apart. Emily struggled even more. She didn't understand why Mom couldn't just fix it. She cried every night when Dad wasn't there to tuck her in, asking if he still loved us. I assured her he did, but inside I was angry. Angry at Mom for tearing us apart. Angry at Dad for not fighting harder to keep us together. angry at the man who had invaded our lives and taken something that wasn't his. Months passed, and life became a series of adjustments. Holidays were divided, birthdays celebrated twice. The house felt emptier, without Dad's presence. Mom tried to make up for it, cooking our favorite meals, buying gifts, acting like everything was normal. But I could see the guilt in her eyes. And though she apologized to me once, late one night, when Emily was asleep, her words rang hollow. "I made a mistake," she said, tears streaking her face. "I never meant to hurt you or your sister. But some mistakes can't be undone." The man Mom had been seeing eventually faded from the picture, or at least that's what she claimed. I never believed her fully. Trust had been broken, and trust is the hardest thing to rebuild once it's shattered. As I grew older, I carried that wound with me. I struggled to believe in love, in permanence, in the idea that people could stay loyal when temptation existed. I kept everyone at arm's length, afraid of being betrayed the way Dad had been. It wasn't until years later, when I was in college, that I finally began to see things in a more complicated light. I visited Dad often, and he had built a new life for himself. He was happier, freer. He even started dating again, though cautiously. He told me once, "People make mistakes, son, but what matters is how we move forward." Mom, on the other hand, never really recovered. She tried to repair our relationship, but the gap between us never closed fully. Emily forgave her in time, clinging to belief that Mom was still her mother, still the woman who had raised her with love. But for me, forgiveness was harder. Looking back now, I realized that the affair didn't just break our family. It reshaped it. It forced us into painful truths about love, loyalty, and the fragility of trust. It taught me that people aren't perfect, that even those you love the most can let you down. But it also showed me resilience. Dad rebuilt his life. Emily grew into someone stronger, and even I found my own path forward. Still, every now and then, when I sit at a family gathering, Dad with his new partner, Mom sitting off to the side, Emily trying to bridge the gap, I can't help but wonder how different things would have been if Mom had chosen differently, if she had stayed faithful, if she had valued what we had instead of reaching for something else. But there are no ifs in life, only what is. And what is that one summer, my mom's affair broke our family apart, leaving scars that time may soften but never fully erase.